Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Malcriada Thoughts, hosted by Zadria Knives. This is a podcast where you go if you want to learn about all things femme, fair, and feared in the RGV. Guys, we're back, okay? We're back with another episode. I know it's been a long time. I've been doing a lot of important things, but I'm so happy that I'm back. So, what are we going to talk about today? Today's episode is called Reconnecting. Malcriadas rejecting the American dream. And just to start off, so we're all on the same page, the American dream is a myth. It's fake. It's made up. Not real. The only thing, it just has really good PR, really good marketing, or propaganda, more so. But the only thing it does successfully is poorly copy and try to impersonate the indigenous reality. Recently, I've had the opportunity to visit my grandma's pueblo back in Cusco in Peru, and I guess I wanted to share a little bit about that because this is a part of my reconnecting journey, visiting back home. Not a lot of people have the privilege to do that because, oh my god, like, this is the second time I've gone to Peru in all my life when I was sentient. I think the last time I went, the very first time I went, is because I was a really, really tiny little baby and I wasn't able to remember anything. I just remembered how the beach looked in Lima, and that's it. But then I was able to go again after I got married, and my husband and we were able to go to Peru to visit my family, and that was the very, very first time I actually got to, meet them and see them. I was 20 years old. And then this is the second time I've been able to go with sentience. And it was really, really, and not just sentient, but an intention to reconnect, an intention to learn about my family, an intention to learn about the country and the pueblo my grandma is from. And just to see how life is over there with more intention. And it was really beautiful. And it had its ups and it had its downs, obviously. The good stuff is that I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot. And I'll tell you a little something I learned. So, you guys know that there's so many paintings with, like, portrayals of Jesus and, like, saints and things of the sort. Mary, things like that. Every time they're painted on, they have pieces, religious pieces, you can see a little halo around them, a little glow, a little yellow golden glow, or maybe there's literal gold around their crown, around their head. Did you guys know that that's a specifically Cusqueñan, like, trait, an art, like, that's specifically made by people from Cusco? Because that is the only way the indigenous people from back then, during the first times that the Spanish came and tried to settle and colonize and take our lands and implement their religion over our traditions, the Spanish and other colonizers were trying to stop the indigenous people from adoring their own idols and their own gods, their own deities. One of them was El Dios Inti, the sun god. So once they started to force Christianity and Catholicism specifically onto us, when these indigenous people would make art and they would make them depict Jesus and other saints, they put a halo around them a glow, a yellow glow, or some gold around them, so they could know, so it could symbolize their god. So every time you see that glow or that crown or any type of gold on their skirts and things like that, it's specifically Cusqueñan. And I didn't know that. And it's crazy because when I went to the museums over there in Cusco, I saw the very, very first crucifix that ever arrived to Peru. And it was haunting, but beautiful. And I know we could think like, ugh, like you can't call that beautiful because of all the stuff that they did. Like, yeah, but I do see that. And I'm not gonna say I don't. I do see that, and I do also feel like, ugh, why did you all ever come here or whatever? But it is what it is, and so many indigenous people still use um Catholic symbols and Christian symbols in their practice, and that doesn't make them any less indigenous. And yeah, it was that's something I had to deal with too. Um you can't, in my personal experience, my family, at least on my father's side, actually no, on both my family side, they're very, very religious. On one side is very Catholic, and on the other is very evangelist Christian. Both due to colonization. And the sad thing is, we went to my grandma's festivities, um, the in the town, and I asked her, Grandma, what's the story of this saint, the saint that they were worshiping at the time? And she looked at me blankly, and she smiled like if she was a little bit in trouble, and she was like, I don't know. Ask your cousin. Because my cousin is studying about all these things. And I was like, that's crazy, because my grandma like was so firm on going and celebrating at the plaza, and watching them carry the saint around the plaza, el patron, and all these things. And I was just like, that's crazy that she feels so like an obligation, a duty to do all these things, but doesn't even know the story of the saint that she's venerating. And I thought it was, again, very haunting, but still, she is very beautiful. That wasn't the only thing we did, though. We also went to visit my family's grave. I went to see my great grandma's grave and my great grandpa's grave. And I was able to write her a poem and leave it to her. And I couldn't help but bawl and break into tears when I read it. And it was just really beautiful. And my grandma hugged me really, really tight after I did that. It was just really powerful. And then right after we were done visiting her grave, because every time we travel we have to visit their graves, like that's a duh, but it's happened both of the trips we went to visit my tío who had passed away when my grandma's son passed away at a young age, and we visited my grandpa. Boo, we don't like him. But we also visited my great grandma, and I've never seen her grave before. So that was really intense. And I took a little bit of dirt from the panteon, and I left an offering and a piece of hair there. So there's a piece of me in Cusco now, no matter what. Like there always was. But yeah, after we were done visiting my great grandma, we were heading down. And because it was festive days, there was dancing everywhere and food everywhere and booze everywhere. And we stopped by, there was a family dancing. They're having a little dancing event. Un convivio. And my tío was like, come on, let's get down. Maybe we know them. Maybe I know them. And we were there, they were dancing, and then they invited us. They saw us standing around, and then they pulled us in, and we started dancing everywhere. My ring fell off. I drank like 6 beers. And then they were like, oh, this is your, what's it called? My tío was like, this is so-and-so's daughters. And then they were like, oh my God. And then everyone started hugging us, and it was really, amazing to know that, dude, I have roots somewhere. I am a part of something. I may not know that experience, but I'm here because of my grandma, because of all this the things that have happened. And it made me feel it made me feel united. And it made me feel whole. There we go. It made me feel whole, and that was such a crazy feeling because I've always felt so isolated from my life here in the US. I've always been so isolated. So yeah. But I also recognize that that brief moment of like happiness like shouldn't be the center of everything. No, I saw so many other things that bothered me, such as how I talked to my tío about the politics, and then he was like, yeah, they offered me a position, but they're corrupt, and I'm not trying to be a part of that. And there's also a protest over there in Lima. There was un paro is what they call it. There's issues everywhere, and I'm not blind to the issues and shitty ways the Peruvian government treats its people. How every government from every country treats its people. And though I loved visiting my family and being known and saludando a todos and walking around with my tío and seeing him introduce me to all these people and just say our last names, and they were like, we know you. We know your family. It's what I needed to keep me going and to keep doing the work that I'm trying to do. So I'm very grateful, but I'm not just gonna sit there and be grateful and be happy with like my little legs tucked in and crisscross applesauce sitting down. Yay, I'm happy now. No. There's work to do. There's lots of work to do. But I'm grateful. So that was a little bit of my journey, a little bit of my trip. Again, so many people don't have the privilege to just go up and go back to their home country, just fly over there. Like, that's not possible for many of us, for many immigrants. Sometimes it's just a one-way ticket. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Sometimes when I visit home countries, when I visit Mexico, when I visit Peru, this ignorant thought crosses my mind, which is, why would anyone leave? And it led me to face the reality that no one ever really wanted to leave. My dad never really wanted to leave his country. He loves it. That's all he talks about. Mostly the food. But no one really wants to come here and abandon their homeland and everything. They leave because they have to, at least in my situation. My dad saw his mom, a struggling single mother who was growing old and needed help, who was a mother of 7. And if you hear your friends and everyone in the news talk about how people are going to America for another opportunity and this and this and that, there was no TikTok, there's no reviews that you could review America. No, that's not how it worked. You just heard good things, and you would see money being sent home by other friends who already took on their journey, and you said, fuck it, I'm gonna do the same. My dad left when he was like 16, 17. And it was a tough journey. He didn't right away get to the US. He landed in Mexico. but he always wanted to go. That was always the mission. And he met my mom allá in Mexico. But the American dream, it was just propaganda. The ideas that the American dream sell you, if you work hard enough, you will have everything you need. If you like work hard enough, da 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 da. If you want to do it, if you have the will, as long as everyone works together, all this bullshit, right? It's fake. And the only reason it's fake, it's because America functions off of white supremacy. The same country that enslaved people is now telling you that we all need to work together. As a family. Come on now. And the reason that these community-based models don't work, they're not working because everyone hates each other. Everyone hates their job. Everyone is lonely. Everyone is going off paycheck to paycheck, except a few people. The reason any of these things aren't working is because it's not supposed to. Because community-based models are never going to work on an individualistic society. America's about the individual. It's about cutting people off. It's about, I don't need to talk to you guys. I don't need to say hello to people. I don't need to get to know my neighbors. Oh my God. Have you guys heard of homeowners association? It's crazy. I've been seeing a bunch of videos online about them. And they like tell you like you can't paint your house blue. What the fuck do you mean I can't paint my house blue? It's my house. That's wild. And the only reason American citizens or residents are able to receive any type of help or have any sort of community-based program is due because indigenous people and oppressed people here in America advocated for them. It was never because the government was just like solito, yeah, let's write it down. That's good. No. That's the only reason. That's the only reason we have as many benefits as we do. The only reason. And yet, the people who get scrutinized and insulted and attacked the most are people of color and queer people here in America. They're like, you guys are sensitive, you guys are this, and you guys are that. That lineage of people and these talking points, where these talking points come from, are the reason you get to eat breakfast in the morning at school. The only reason schools give free breakfast or lunch sometimes, because not even for all schools, sometimes for some schools, is because they saw how well the Black Panthers were doing and organizing and providing for their communities without depending on the government. And they were like, oh, can't let them outdo us. Let's copy it and make it worse federally. Okay, yeah, America sucks. We get it. What's the point? Okay, the point is there's so many people here in America who identify a lot with immigrant. I identify with immigrant identity as well. It's a part of my story, a part of my narrative, if you will. But it seems like once we cross that border, once we cross that river, once we cross that ocean, what have you, the story that came before is erased. And then it solely becomes about a Mexican in America, a Peruvian in America, a Dominican in America, a Puerto Rican in America. Well, Puerto Rico is, it's a property of the US. How insane is that? But yeah, I we're kind of sick of not sick of it. It's important, but I want to know more. I want to go beyond, farther down just the immigrant identity. Where do we come from? Where do you come from? I want to push people to reconnect to their cultures, to their roots, not just to whatever identity we made up here in the US. Because the world doesn't start with America. The world did not begin with America. It didn't, and it's not going to end with it either. So let's reconnect. So that is the journey that I am currently taking. I'm trying to learn about my family. I'm trying to learn about their journey here. I'm trying to learn about their stories and how our culture plays a part in that. And it's not easy. And that's the one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. It's not easy. And it's not just this pretty little, like, oh, I'm an Aztec princess. Like, no. And the fact that people say that is wild. It's like opening a wound and going inside of it and learning about it and then coming back out and sealing it and moving forward. Because I can't go back in there. There's no way for me to ever identify fully as just an indigenous person, because I'm not, and neither are a lot of us. Are there indigenous people who live in urban areas and suburbias? Yes. But what I'm specifically talking about are people who are connected right there in the thick of it, in their pueblos still, fighting for their land, defending their land, being targeted for their land, experiencing the changes of the climate and adjusting and rerouting and seeing what's the next step, because the government is not going to help you. I can never claim that, and that's okay. I'm okay with not claiming that, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to learn about it, and doesn't mean I'm not going to advocate for indigenous pueblos all over the world as I do it. That's what I want to push for. I think so many people are so focused on theory and what's the best theory to follow. Oh my god, is it capitalism? Is it socialism? Is it communism? Is it libertarianism? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's so unapproachable that way. It makes people never want to even learn about what's going on politically, because that it's in itself is so elitist. Academia is so elitist and also rooted in white supremacy. Why? How come when I'm looking up about shit about my own fucking people, I find a Harvard article? What the fuck are you guys doing over there? ¿Qué te importa? Go learn about England, bitch! I don't know. And, I'm just pushing you guys to learn about your own families. I feel like that is so much more approachable than go read a book of theory of this and this and that. When half of those motherfuckers didn't even have indigenous people or black people in mind. Like, que me importa? Literally, que me importa? And, like, not to say that I don't endorse some of the fucking, like, ideas of socialism and communism. I do. It's just that when people make that their whole personality, like, that's all you're talking about, you're only talking about theory, and you're not talking to people, you're just lecturing people, it's not approachable. It's not approachable. And I hate motherfuckers like that. So yeah, I am inviting you guys to reconnect. If you resonated with anything that I said earlier, I fucking hate my job. No one gives a fuck. They're telling us that we're a family. They're telling me as long as I work and go to school, if I put the work in, I'll get what I deserve. But I'm not receiving anything. I haven't gotten near as half as where I want to be in life. I don't have time for anything. All I'm doing is working, and I'm lonely. All these things. If you can relate to all of that, congratulations, because you're one step closer into getting that awakening that, oh shit, this isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't how it's supposed to be, and somehow we're still out here doing it. And how do we stop? How do we stop this stupid assimilated brain from malfunctioning? And the only way is to reconnect. Reconnect back to your roots. Learn. Oh, I'm specifically talking about Latinos and people in the Valley who have Latin American ancestry. I'm not talking to European people. Though European people also have pagan roots, their own folk people. So you can go learn about that, but I'm not talking about that right now. No, I don't think I could ever, because I don't know y'all. I do not know y'all. But yeah. I recently, you're gonna see it up tomorrow as well on the 28th. I posted a blog on Reconnecting, and it also have an audio and listening option if you need that. I need that. Like, I swear to God, I wish everything was like that. Everything could be read to me, or I could listen to it, because I can learn it so much better like that. But yeah. So what now? How do we reconnect? How do we do it? Go ahead and go to my blog. Well, there's many ways. I'm sure you're already thinking of something. I'm sure you're already have some idea. But if you'd like further explanations, some do's and don'ts, go ahead and head over to my website, and you can click on the latest article on Reconnecting. But just to summarize it real quick, I talk about how when we are disconnected, we have a lot of personal issues. We feel off. We feel cloudy in our heads. We feel like we've almost been blindfolded our whole lives, until you finally are like, wait, like I said before. And the saddest thing is that when we get disconnected from our roots, we can automatically connect to white supremacist roots. It's very unfortunate. It's very sad that these are the only schools of thought that are available to us, especially because of these systems, because of these brainwashy, indoctrinating, propaganda giving systems. And yeah, like Texas has its own fucking Pledge of Allegiance. Give me the fucking break. Texas. This ain't Texas. But yeah. We must reconnect to honor our indigenous ancestry and correct the wrongdoings of any colonizing ancestry. We have to clean up the planet. We have to take care of each other. We have to do a whole cultural reset and stop chasing this American dream, because it's not real. It's a myth. And what is real is what you have before you. Your family, your loved ones, your significant others, the members of your community, and the land below your feet. That's what's real. Anything else, any false idea of career or purpose or any of that stuff, it's made up. And I believe you can do anything you want, regardless of any limitations that you may have. Because I think the biggest limitation of all is this stupid system, is white supremacy. And yeah, guys. It's been a long time since I made an episode, so I'm so sorry if I'm a little all over the place. I just want to get this episode out there and encourage you guys to just look into yourselves, look into your family, and not just take like a 23andMe and be like, oh my god, I'm 3% this. It's like, yes, but no. Look up blood quantum. Yeah. Because it's more than that. It's more than that. I don't know how else to explain it. It's more than that. And yeah. Anyways, I'll be making more episodes on this. I'll be making more episodes about a lot of things because, oh my god, just my first month back in the valley, it's been a movie. So looking forward to sharing that with you guys. Just all my intentions. My intentions always are to reconstruct our community. Not reconstruct. Let me not get all not reconstruct, but build more of a sense of community here because sí hay, pero como que no. You know? Like yes, but like it's just that small town vibe. It's that small town vibe, and I love y'all. I love y'all so much. I love the valley. I love Rio Grande Valle. Puro pinche 956, you already know. But I also can see where our flaws are. And at the same time, I'm not going to erase the potential because you guys are amazing. This place is amazing. And there's so much culture and talent and abundance. My intention is always to uplift the valley and those Malcriadas in it. Period. Literally, that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. So, yeah. Okay, guys. I'll let you do your thing. I hope that you were listening and doing something that makes you feel happy. Whether that's getting some rest or cleaning your room or going for a walk. Try going for a walk when you listen to my shit because I would love to go for a walk and listen to my shit. But I listen to other people's podcasts, obviously. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Malcriadas Thoughts, hosted by yours truly, Zadria Knives. Appreciate you guys. See you on the other side. Signing off.